Welcome, everybody, to the Sacred Self-Healing Forecast discussion for December 2021. Yes, you can all hear me now. I want to start off this discussion with you with a question to you. As you all know, this is a discussion. This isn't a lecture. I use a part of this discussion, the analysis that I do at the very end, which is a free service to all of you, as the public forecast. But the main reason why I'm doing this discussion here is really to talk with you and to exchange. So you know this about me and my work. This is all about interacting with you, which is also why I want to change the platform for using that I'm using for our discussions and workshops here for the Sacred Self-Healing community, which will grow in 22. And today I want to ask you something. And this is more of general nature, but I see all your names. I see who's here. I know that you guys are all dedicated sacred self-healers. How has this helped you in 2021 or before to have these predictions and forecast discussions? How has this actually helped you to contextualize things? And yes, you see the steam here is really cold. I got my Icelandic jacket on. How have these discussions, these workshops, especially the predictions, you know, the weekly energy tips, but also the daily sacred selves, the prayers and so forth, how have they helped you in 2021? Who wants to share?
Hi, Jona.
Hey, Jona.
Oh, hang on.
Go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay. I've actually found them really quite. Well, I've used them as a confirmation for the things that I'm going through, and it was always good to know. Well, not good to know, but it's good to have a sense that I'm not losing it.
That's always an important one, right? Because we question ourselves. Right.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, so that's my main reason for checking in is really to, you know, get a feel for. I suppose it's making my own lexicons, isn't it? It's organizing or getting a sense of what I feel is actually what a lot of others are feeling at the same time. Yes, so that's what.
So like a reassuring,
Yeah.
or a validation
Yes.
of your own perceptions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, Come.
You're welcome.
Yes, very much what Carmel said. The validation, just like little sanity checks along the way. Well, not little, actually, they're very big, and you do them often, and I appreciate that a lot. So thank you.
And they're not always nice. I mean, I'm not like, oh, everything's gonna be fine, guys, if you just believe in yourself and hold hands and sing kumbaya, right? So let's be honest here, okay? I'm often someone who has to convey things that are uncomfortable truths, right? I mean, I know, Cheryl, this is a thing for you. You're very good at that. Yeah, taking that, like working with that. So besides the validation, what else is in there?
The community, the community, and the I recognize from what you've said that you're looking to get to strengthen the community by finding ways we can continue to interact with each other. And a lot of us have already built bonds between each other so we can contact separately, but the more people from the community at large that can come in, it builds a bigger circle, I think. And what's really cool is we're global. So the fact that I can talk to someone in Australia or New Zealand or the UK or the States, that's a beautiful thing. And to be able to feel everything that I feel and share it with other people who understand that and are free to express their feelings as well. So thank you for that.
It's very cool to hear you say we. I think this is the biggest change that actually came about in this year. If you think about it, we are seeing each other more now as together because we just had a collective, or we're still in the middle of it, traumatic experience. I love that you emphasized the fact that it's global and that there is this bonding that occurs, yeah, through recognizing that we're stronger together. And Cheryl, thank you for actually emphasizing the fact that it's a positive thing to bring in more people. This is not really what I felt the years prior. The years prior, I felt a lot of specialness. I felt a lot of like, I don't want to share this, okay? Maybe because I'm embarrassed about the intimacy level or the vulnerability that is displayed in those sharings and those discussions. And maybe also because, you know, it was, after all, the end times of New Age, yeah. So having that secret knowledge made us maybe feel better about ourselves. But this is all gone now. You guys notice that? Maybe I'm a little too early with saying it's gone, but embracing the togetherness, that's new. That's wonderful. Thanks for emphasizing that, Cheryl. What else? Yes. Yeah, Sheila, it helped you with your own connection with yourself and others like you. Yeah. Is there more there? I'd like to hear more. Yeah, Sheila, go ahead. This is an interesting and important point.
I think what I found, I mean, it's been helpful for years, but this year in particular, it was in those times of really needing to feel that connection. And what was interesting was realizing how much I had always had questions to myself, but I felt extra questions within this year that I would second guess myself. And so it was really nice to be able to be here in a safe space with people that were like-minded. Even if we didn't agree or see it the same way, it felt safe. And that to me allowed me to keep practicing for myself, but yet still feel connected to other people, even though they weren't in my town. They, like Cheryl said, they're everywhere. So it was, that was really valuable. You can't really, you know.
Yeah, it has changed the way we value connection, hasn't it?
Right.
It's like, I mean, it's always been theoretically the right thing to do, right? To reach out or to connect with others, but it has put a whole different value to it now in times like that. And there's also another thing. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I really just appreciated the opportunities to continue to practice that, because there's a lot of other platforms. We talk about this a lot. There's social media that I think a lot of us found, okay, this isn't like that, but it is, but it's not. And
how is it not?
So yeah, so it's not, it doesn't feel like the fake persona of
it's not
of a
about
bunch of
being
extra.
somebody. Yeah,
No,
exactly.
it's about truly showing up as who you are without all the fluff or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. It's just been navigating that with this. I don't know. It's just been really interesting to experience that, but know that you could do that for yourself. I did it for myself, and then getting to expand that with other people here has been really, really beautiful.
That's what I meant with it. It has made us re-evaluate connections. I don't know about you guys, but it's like if I have the choice, I don't have a lot of time, to connect with people. Okay, when I do, I want to make it count. Yeah, it needs to be deeper. I'm not going to waste my time with fluff talk or what did you call this, fakery or anything. I mean, there's situations in life sometimes where one has to do that at work or whatever. Yeah, it's just out of program politeness and all that. But it has made me become more, well, picky, I guess, but not in a special way, but in a way that it has become more authentic. Yeah, that's the problem with social media. The goal of social media is not to be authentic. The goal of social media is to impress somebody or to present a certain picture. That's why that's not interesting for many of us anymore. Because in times where the rubber meets the road or whatever, where we're really questioning ourselves and where we need to be heard and seen as we are, that fakery isn't of any value. Yeah. Cindy, you sharing here, coming out of the woodwork has arrived. What do you mean with 2013?
Wasn't that the year that you wrote that article?
Yes, it was. Thank you for the record keeping. And like once in a while I reposted it and everybody was like, oh my God, it's such a good article. And I'm like, oh, okay.
If
I mean,
I had known then what I know now about that article, I would have thought that I lived on a different planet or that you were talking in a different language. But now I see how it's evolved, and there isn't even words that I can put to where we are, all of us have grown and evolved. And these specifically, like the energy updates and whatnot, the language that you put to it helped us evolve through all of this, because most of us here, if not all of us, have always felt that there's been something. And now that it's common talk now for us, the authenticity, the no fakey stuff, and I love it. I feel so much at home now.
it also shows you something else. You just said it, right? I mean, we've all felt it. Maybe we couldn't put words to it. Maybe we didn't know what it meant. Maybe we wanted it, but we didn't know how to get there. But it was somehow fated. It was somehow guided, all right, that you stuck with it, that you went through these evolutionary steps. Well, in this case, with me, I'm not the only one, obviously, but to go through these things, these uncharted territories, with not really knowing where it's going to go, not really knowing how it's going to unfold, and not really knowing if it's even real. And you trust it anyway. Yeah. Can you see this now? I think it's a good moment to tap yourself on the shoulder. Yeah. And as you're doing that, thanking your true self for making it impossible for you to run away.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Even though
Oh,
you've tried
yes.
many times.
Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, definitely. Well, and it always brings me back, and I laugh at it. The question you always ask is, if we knew that this is the road that we were going to take, if we knew how that road was going to be, would we take it? And I crack up about it because I love this road. I love this bumpy road. I love this windy, bumpy, crazy road. But if you had asked me that and laid it all out ahead of time, I don't think any one of us would have taken that road. But yeah, faith.
Well, I can tell you one thing, and that's relevant for December energies. Now you're going to have to get used to it not being bumpy anymore. So you also have to let go of the payoff of it being so challenging. This is a different kind of challenge. You have to trust in it now. It doesn't have to be bumpy. It didn't have to be bumpy all along. It wasn't for me. No, and there were moments where I was, you know, frustrated, pissed off, impatient, and all that, right? Global crisis, please come, finally. Yeah, so that people actually listen. Obviously, I'm joking. Okay, but you understand what I mean. It didn't have to be bumpy. In the future, you're going to have to let go of that. That it has to be a struggle, that it has to be hard. You have to be willing to let go of that.
Yeah.
This is fate now playing out, guys. You understand? You're going to get there no matter what. But you're going to decide how you get there. All of you. You're going to have to consciously choose how you're going to get there, even though you don't know what the there is yet. So that's a little bit of a well, it's both the silver lining and the challenge. If you let go, you'll feel support. The more you try to control, it's like a Chinese finger trap. Okay, it gets harder the more you try to control it.
Just thinking of like listening to the words that you're saying and the codes that are coming through, and having a couple of tears of gratitude and giggles at the same time, thinking, where else would I be that everything you just said made sense? Because it didn't make sense at all, but it makes total sense knowing everything that I know now. So thank you for that. What you just said was very impactful. Thank you.
Your spirit is always exactly where it needs to be. You are always exactly where you need to be. This is also relevant for December. Yeah. To trust in that. You can kick and scream and go against it, and your ego can have a little extra lap for, you know, trying to manifest something that the ego likes better or thinks it knows better. Okay, it just makes it harder though. You know, you can just like trust in it. You're exactly where you need to be, and you just need to remember to be. There's one other aspect that came in. No, this is not blind trust. Blind trust is different, Brian. It's in fact the opposite of blind trust. This blind trust would be me saying, oh, just take my word. Everything is going to be fine and you don't have to do anything. That is blind trust. I'm saying trust in yourself, trust in your inner guidance. Stop contradicting it. Stop fighting it. And you're going to be exactly where you need to be according to your highest potential. Yeah, and obviously there are elements, these are the outer elements, okay, that come in that, you know, can create conducive or less conducive circumstances or conditions. Yeah, so some conditions are more conducive for certain things than others, or they change the rhythm in which we need to do things. Yeah, sometimes we have to go out more, and sometimes we have to pull in more. Sometimes we have to take care of our physical more. Sometimes we have to take care of our emotions more. Sometimes we have to discipline our mind more. There's different rhythms, and obviously these rhythms, just like natural rhythms, like seasons, okay? It's always better to go with them rather than against them. But that other aspect that I mentioned, I wanted to bring that up. That's something that I noticed specifically here within the Sacred Self-Healing community. And that is the invisible impact that we have on others. We don't always know that. We don't always know what our impact is. Yeah, because a lot of people are shy. A lot of people are not quite yet out of the woodwork. Yeah, they're not quite there yet. That they can openly say, yes, I believe in energies. Sorry, guys, I have a little goofy energy here today. All right. But the impact that you are having on others, and this has a lot to do with what Sheila and Cheryl, guys, what you said there in the beginning, that this new way of connecting with other people and embracing it and recognizing that togetherness is actually the higher potential, yeah, that is actually leading us to our own higher expression everywhere in our lives, okay, that is something that is sometimes invisible. We don't know how we are impacting people. And for all of you who haven't really been able to understand the word embodiment yet, okay, that's exactly what it is, Sheila. That's what these higher levels, or Cindy, I don't remember who said this earlier, higher levels of authenticity, what they relate to. When you embody something, your energy becomes so whole and so round and so calm in a way. Calm as in the absence of a conflict, that it attracts others. Yeah, the rock and the shore, the beacon of light in the storm. Okay. You don't have to be anybody for that. You just have to be the best you can at that moment. You just have to be the best embodiment of yourself. That's what embodiment means. There's no comparison. It's not possible to compare embodiment. Yeah, because we are all very unique here in our energetic makeup. We all have a sovereign soul self that has a very own, not personality per se in that psychological sense, but that has a very own purpose. And the quote, or, you know, it's not really a quote. I mean, I wrote that, but the meaning of what you're seeing on your screen here right now is significant for December. And that is, remember, the spiritual world sees you as a powerful being. What comes up for you when you hear that? Who of you struggles with their humanness? Yeah, half of us. Yeah, yeah. So those of you who've raised their hand here, which aspect of humanness? Just to remind ourselves of what it is that we perceive as imperfect or as flawed in our own humanness.
Some days I struggle, other days I don't. And it really depends on the day. It might be the physical body is making itself well aware through pain, and that I would guess would be probably the biggest struggle on the days. Yeah,
Okay,
but
so for you, the humanness or the flaw of being human is mostly coming through physical things.
yeah,
Weaknesses.
physical body pain probably would be the number one thing, but
Okay.
there are things that can be done to work with that. So it's usually a mindset, and it can be addressed. So
Right. No, I know you know the solutions, but this is an honest answer, to the question, like what part of being human is the hardest for you, right? Yeah. So for you, it's the physical. How about the others who raised their hands? What part of being human is the hardest for you? What do you resist most, or what do you feel the most sort of struggle with? Maybe not all day long, every day, but when it hits you.
Jona, bit the same. I have good days and I have bad days, but mine tends to be more where I see myself fitting in, being a part of,
Okay.
belonging. That's where
Belonging.
I have my biggest struggle.
So feeling separate or feeling uh, struggling
Different.
to belong, or feeling
Yeah,
different. Yes. Okay.
different. Yeah.
But I mean, we're all human, though, right? So you do recognize that everybody else is human too. So in that way, we're all the same, right? But your
Yeah.
humanness doesn't seem to be the same as other people's humanness. Okay.
Totally.
Okay. No, it's this is a really honest way of perceiving that. It's really important to admit that to yourself, to acknowledge that, like, oh, I'm having difficulties being human because, I constantly struggle with this, well, basically fear of not belonging or loneliness. It's really the loneliness underneath that, right? What else?
For me, it has to do with just dealing with the ego and all the brain noise and
Brain
that kind
noise.
of
Yeah, I
yeah,
know, it's so
yeah,
annoying, isn't that?
yeah, yeah.
The brain noise.
Just
Okay, I love that,
just
Brian.
just
Yeah.
navigating myself through that sometimes sometimes can be exhilarating as you discover new things about myself, but other times could be very exhausting and distracting.
So being
And
human is quite complex.
oh, definitely. Yeah.
If we haven't been human before, or if we made fun of humans, it definitely brought in a different level of respect, huh?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, it's not easy being human.
No, it's totally
No.
not easy. I'm with you on that
No.
one. It's like, whoa,
No,
I thought,
it's no
what are they
picnic.
complaining about? Oh,
You know,
yeah, that,
I had an experience 6 weeks ago where, I really got that just because that you let go of something doesn't mean it goes away
no.
or anything, you know. Uh, I think I had some preconceived notion prior that letting go meant that uh, you never had to deal with a particular issue again or anything. And it doesn't necessarily mean that per se. It is very
No.
revealing.
Yes, because letting go is a choice.
Yeah, yeah,
And whether you deal with something or not is also a choice.
right.
Letting go means choosing to not deal with it, but not because, you pretend it's not there or something. You have to acknowledge it first
Hmm.
to let
Yeah.
it go. Yeah. And then you have to say, all right, it's not worth it for me. Or,
Well, well, uh, a big, gateway for me was it took on a whole different meaning of acceptance and accepting what was going on before you could even conceive of letting it go. Really, you have to accept it.
Yeah. Beautiful. So you find acceptance. What is it? Accepting limitations, huh? Of being human. That's really what it is, isn't it, Brian?
Yeah. Accepting
That is limited. I mean, it's
flaws,
not,
or what you
yeah,
perceive are flaws.
exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
that can change over a lifetime,
Yeah.
right? But
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the fact that there are limitations, So
Right. Yeah.
it's quite difficult actually for our ego to wrap itself around that. Okay. It doesn't want that. So it can't let go of it. So you're right. It's letting go is basically, choosing to accept. And we call this integration then, this the process of integration. When we integrate something, that's when we have accepted that it's there, yeah, but also at the same time, more or less transcended the compulsion around it.
Well, out of doing all of that, Jona, I also realized, I guess that's when I kind of got in touch with my own powerful being, if you will. Because I had a lot of codependency issues come up as well. I mean, really deep stuff that I never really thought about. And I realized it all really came down to, if I'm going to be codependent on anyone, I should be codependent on myself, and really, I'm very powerful, and I'm beautiful, and I'm loving, and I'm very, very grateful for having this human experience. Really.
Thank you, Brian, for bringing this in. And to understand that we are powerful beings, even though we have to, and maybe because, I don't know, but yeah, despite of having to accept that this human form, okay, is complex, challenging, and limited. Yeah. But the true spiritual being that we are, because I think we've all established that there is something like a soul in us, and a soul is a spirit being that is not a physical material being. Okay, that soul in us, that spiritual entity, that's a powerful one. Yeah. And even if we don't understand the purpose of this physical experience, yes, some look at it as a punishment. I don't. I see it as a choice, and I see the purpose of it. And that has made me recognize, I'm not talking about me as a person, I mean this as a person with an I am awareness, that has me recognized the power behind it, yeah? The power in me. Thank you, Brian. Melly is sharing, for me, it's the perceived personality flaws, not behaving like a saint. So I guess what you mean with that is experiencing yourself having a shadow. Yeah. That's linked to the intention that we have and the ideal. Okay, so behind the intention is an ideal, yeah, namely behaving like a saint. Okay, but the problem with that is that it's a mental construct. Yeah, the definition of saint, yeah, is a mental construct, and so it is part of this letting go experience that we have to let go of these ideals. Yeah, because after all, the way we perceive ourselves yeah, is also it's in the eye of the beholder, it's in our eye. Okay, so yes, obviously when we do something that hurts other people, or these fundamental values between humans like stealing, killing, greed, and so forth, these are all things that we perceive as flaws, all right, or as lying. Yeah, these are all things that we do not want to see in us. But due to the fact that we have a nervous system, due to the fact that we have a survival mechanism, due to the fact that we have hormones, due to the fact that we have all these adversities and so forth, yeah, we are acting not always according to our highest potential, not always according to our highest expression. And to witness that in ourselves is sometimes challenging. But I would strongly recommend, Melly, that you work with the recontextualization of flaw. What is a flaw? And is the perception of being flawed, yeah, what kind of mindset, what kind of belief and mental construct is behind that, and work on that instead. Yeah. This is an implant that many of us have that comes from generations before us, is often in conjunction with religious sort of overlay, okay, that our ancestors have accumulated, that basically blocked our spiritual connection, our direct wire, our direct connection to divine Wi-Fi. Yeah, is that experiencing ourselves as sinners, experiencing ourselves as flawed, which then brings in guilt, and guilt brings in judgment, and judgment brings in fear, and well, fear triggers shadow. All right, and so this cycle continues in us. Now, this is also relevant for December. Maybe to bust through that cycle. That cycle in and of itself is what produces this repeating karma for us. So in this moment, when you can see that, when you can recontextualize that, when you can separate or discern content, yeah, what you say, what you do, from context, yeah, that in that moment, say your survival or your anger or something that is not processed yet, something that you haven't really accepted as part of yourself, yeah. So shadow aspects are the unloved aspects of yourself, all right, that it's only a matter of time until you can invite them back in and no longer need to see them as flaws. All right, so this is basically what this sacred self-healing journey is about. Yeah. So with the progressing steps, you go deeper and deeper, and you recognize, sort of where they're all kind of originated, and that like Brian said, it's really all just a matter of acknowledging them, accepting them, and then moving on. That's how we let go, even of these perceived flaws. Yeah. Sheila is sharing one of the hardest things about being human, or the resistance that she experiences with being a human. The struggle I have felt in my humanness is the inconsistence that that feels like that come up. Okay, so this is, I can't, the sentence confuses me, but I think I know what you mean. This inner conflict that you can have sometimes, right, where you have a good intention, but then you do something else. That you bring in here deep control and perfection issues, which is related to the flaw struggle, okay, but it's and the mental construct behind that, this ideal, yeah, the idealization of how one should be as a human, okay, but it also has something to do with discipline, Sheila, and focus, because this autonomy that we all have, you know, where we flip back and forth, yeah, and our ambiguity with ourselves. Okay, this isn't always because we are say impacted by anything. It's because we just don't have the discipline to hold our focus. Yeah, it's like an ADHD little puppy dog. Okay, so we all know that the dog is a good dog and wants to be good and is gentle and kind and all that, but you know, it can do a lot of damage, you know, jumping around or trying to catch a dragonfly or, you know, a squirrel or something. Do you know what I mean? So there's this training that we need for ourselves, just like our puppies need training, so that they cannot really do that much damage. Yeah, it's not about perfect, it's about this discipline. Yeah, it's not the same as control. I also find, and I know this is something that many of you also experience, that empathy can be a struggle. This empathy, there were many times when I was younger where I wished I wouldn't feel. I wished I wouldn't feel all myself, but also what other people feel. Yeah, so that part as well. So we all have different things that are bothering us, or that, you know, where we struggle with, be it the physical, be it the emotional, be it the mental stuff, be it the spiritual, or, you know, many of us also with these energetic ups and downs and collective energies and the sensitivity and, you know, absorbing other people's energies and so forth. All that is something that we need to juggle, you know, as a human. And then there is divine Wi-Fi, right? Then there are these cosmic energies, these bigger energies. Yeah, many of you were somewhat afraid of those when you started out. Many of you, I think, have started your journey out of fear of the unknown. Yeah, some maybe out of curiosity, and some out of the ego desire to control it. Yeah, most of you probably a combination of both. Yeah, is that right? Just a little bit feedback here. Yeah, if you think back at the beginnings of your journey, and journey sounds so big, but I mean, like when you started to investigate things for yourself.
You know, for me, it was curiosity, for sure.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely curiosity, and something, you know, growing up in a very religious family, and my father being a minister, things didn't make sense to me when I was, you know, I don't know, like 7 or 8 years old. Things just weren't making sense. The whole, what I
You wanted
called then,
answers. You wanted truth. Yeah, you
yeah, it
wanted
was
to.
like the
Yeah.
whole God
Nice.
program, if you will, just
Yeah.
it just wasn't making sense. And so started my uh, that's what started my seeking, for sure.
Mm-hmm. So Becky, it was the other one, the wanting to be more in control.
Yeah,
For me,
I would,
go ahead.
you know, I was just going to jump in and say similar to Brian, just realizing that there was something within that kept telling me things weren't the way that they seemed. Like there was something that was telling me this wasn't the way it was supposed. This isn't real, and that's what I wanted to know. Well, what is this signal in me? You know, that's telling me something else. Because you know, like what is that?
Mm-hmm. So curiosity.
Yeah.
Or, you know, both. I mean, truth seeking to a degree. That was it for me as well. It was mostly purpose seeking. I was very young when I came to the conclusion that living this life makes no sense. This makes absolutely no sense to suffer. Yeah, that can't be it. Okay. And that's when I entered my dark years, you know, like between 12 and 25, I'd say. Yeah, it's like, well, you know, what a shit show this is, right? And then it was like, well, but somehow they can't be. There was something in me that, like you said, Sheila, there was something that told me, like, there is a reason, there is a purpose. And I'm like, really? You know, and there was a seeking there in me without me even wanting it. Yeah, that seeking obviously translated into curiosity, translated into all of the above, wanting to control things more, but mostly wanting to understand. I wanted to understand it. Yeah, like Brian, like you said, I wanted it to make sense. It could not be that something so miraculous and so omnious and magnificent, like the human body and the human experience, was there for no reason. It could not be. I mean, not just reduced to the body, but you know, that whole experience in that body. It's way too complicated for it just be sort of a random occurrence. Yeah, I had a lot of atheist friends growing up, scientists, right? And they felt so empty and so lifeless, yeah, that I decided, well, it's a shit show, that's for sure. But since I'm here, I might as well go through it, okay? Collect all the treasures and get some loot or whatever, so that I can get to the next level. That was literally a thought I had when I was 15. It's like, okay, since I'm already here, yeah, I'm not dying, okay? So I might as well just go and see that I can make the best out of it. Mhm. Yes, so these contemplations, guys, here as Sacred Self-Healing Community are very important now for December, all right, because we will experience a shit show. We will experience a showdown, a dead end, a total sort of disaster, okay, and not like in the sense of apocalypse, but in the sense of nothing will make sense. Nothing will make sense if you see it through, well, I want to say the eyes of your ego. All right. So we're going to be forced to recontextualize. November was the month of gaining new perspectives. Here, just real quick, anybody, new perspectives? Anybody gain new perspectives in December? I shared small things in the energy tips with you guys already. Simple things. Simple things changed for me. Yeah, that if I have difficulties sleeping, if it's not attractive to me to go into my bed, well, I might as well change my bed or my bedroom. Yeah, it's not nothing fancy, energetic about that. It's just a really uncomfortable bed. Yeah, and so I recognize that some of these like really, really simple 3D things can make a big difference. It's like buying yourself a new knife, a new kitchen knife, and you're like, oh my God, life is so much easier with a sharp knife.
Yona, I would say similar things like what you just described, same kind of stuff. It was a lot for me was environmental,
Mhm,
and simple environmental. I mean, it's the same environments, but it was my choices about how long I stayed in those places or around those people, or what I chose to do with my time rather than force
mhm,
myself to stay and continue
mhm.
like trying to do better at something when I realized I'd run my course, like I was done. And I still am struggling with that, but I've recognized the perspective I have on that is the only thing that's different. The rest of it is still all the same, but it's what I'm looking at differently to say, I don't have to keep pushing myself into something that I don't even want to keep doing.
Yeah, that doesn't even have a value to
No.
me. That's
And
not even
sometimes,
worth it.
right. And sometimes today it feels like that, and tomorrow it's different. And similar to the sleeping or the place I'm working. I'm trying to change different little places about that because some days it's more conducive here, other days it's conducive there. And I'm trying to be okay with that. And that's, yeah.
It's the schism. It's the this ambiguity, Sheila, that I mentioned earlier. That especially you need to be careful with not getting pulled into that too much. Okay. Yeah. Just be clear about what you're doing.
Right.
Okay. If you want to check out, okay, then tell yourself, all right, today I'm going to check out. All right. Don't beat yourself up over it. Don't, like let go of the fear of missing out somewhere else. Choose it, do it, be congruent with it. If you choose to waste your time on things, not according to your, like, say, highest, whatever potential, okay, and you choose to do it anyway, okay, then do it with that understanding. It's that simple, all right? It's that simple. If you choose to do something that you know is not good for you, well, then stop lying to yourself, or finding justifications or blaming it on others or something else. No, just be okay. This is what I'm doing right now. And I'm choosing that. I don't expect myself to be a saint. I'm not a saint. For me, I'm shooting for 80-20. Okay, 80% a saint, 20%, okay, yeah. 80-20 is the ratio that I've discovered in nature. Okay, 20% contamination is good for evolution. Yeah, but just be okay with it. Just don't beat yourself
Yep.
up over it. That's it. Yeah, it's that not wanting to see it, not wanting to acknowledge it, not wanting to accept it. That and that always comes from the idealization, yeah, from the perfect and all these mental constructs. It's a form of externalization, really. This, like, how it's supposed to be, or how we think we are supposed to be. If you let that go, yeah, you're free.
Yep.
And in December, this can lead to very accelerated transformations here for all of us. All right, so let me just start that official part now. Okay, so we can all get to bed here anytime soon, and then we can discuss maybe some of these things. You can ask questions after I'm done with this official part here. So welcome to the forecast for December 2021. My name is Jona Bryndis. I'm an energy healer, forecaster, visionary, and also energy coach, helping people to navigate through these energies that are always there. We may not see them, but we can feel the impact. And if you are an energetically sensitive or empathic person, then you might resonate with these perspectives here that I bring in with this energy analysis. Something that I have often called a report rather than a prediction or forecast, because the nature of this energetic sensitivity, being able to pick up on these energies and having the confidence to put it into words, yeah, to linguistically translate it so that it becomes understandable for others and not sounding like a tinfoil header. That's something my son has created, that word. Yeah, so what are these collective energies here in December, these end of the year energies? You've probably heard this elsewhere. You've heard me saying this already in the weekly energy tips. We are looking at a very, very accelerated transformation time here. Things are really entering the showdown. Yeah, the climax of this last year and a half, these last 18 months of a new paradigm arising, new rules, new values emerging in our societies. And I think it's safe to say now that we have all been affected in one way or another through these last year and a half, or almost 2 years now, yeah, of pandemic health scares and totalitarian measures and lockdowns and so forth. This isn't quite over yet, guys. So just to give you here this barometer, we will still be dealing with the COVID and all that comes with it. Okay, so it's not just the virus itself, but it is more the stuff that comes with it, the economic consequences of these measures, their social, psychological, mental, emotional impacts that these last year and a half had on us, and of course also the spiritual, I want to say, impulse that was triggered through that. These things are all coming to its pinnacle here in December. Starting with the 1st of December, I'm going to go through some of these important dates here in a little bit. But let's capture the overall energy of this month first. The name, or the theme that I gave this month is true self-intervention. It's something or a phenomenon that one can experience with a certain level of consciousness, namely in the form of a crisis or a sudden event in your life where you're being forced to do something that at the time was a little bit of a struggle, or made you think you're gonna lose it all, or made you think you're gonna die, or worse, made you think you lose everything that you love or that you have, just to turn out to be probably the best thing that could happen to you, right? Because it did force you into changing something, all right? And true self-interventions, to me, sounds a little better than higher power or something like that, that always triggers fears in us. True self-intervention is probably the best way to describe what that looks like. It's literally our higher self intervening in form of these downloads, impulses, these sudden light bulbs, these sudden insights, these inspirations that we are experiencing. And yes, it's also connected obviously to cosmic influences, to universal, larger spiritual beings or forces that are playing chess with us here on this planet, right? And so a true self-intervention is a very specific kind of download for all of you, reminding you of your higher power. And this is something that we can feel when we feel into who am I, why am I here, what is my purpose? Because there's something in us that, regardless of what our spiritual belief system is, that reminds us that we have something beyond just our physical. It's our consciousness, yeah, and our consciousness links us into our soul. And the true self is the communicator, the translator between these levels, these dimensions of ourselves. Okay, so without going too far into the esoterics, it's really about us recognizing that there is a constant connection, there's a constant communication between, well, if you will, the lower self that I'm experiencing here in form of this human body, this human, you know, the having this human psyche and this human experience with my higher self, yeah, which is basically also, you know, a fractal of the divine self or the divine power. Okay, and so there is this messaging between those different dimensions of myself, and the true self is the one closest to us. It constantly communicates with us. It constantly sends us signals, yeah, and impulses through our body, through our emotions, through our thoughts, and through our spiritual, etheric, and energetic perception. And if you will, your energetic sensitivity is a big part of that. Yeah, it is basically true self-send, okay, for you to increase your bandwidth of what it is that you're perceiving. And if you have experienced your own energetic sensitivity as a bit of a curse in the past, this will be different now for you, because you realize that this is exactly what it is that is needed to discern truth, to be able to see through all these manipulations, noble lies, and mind control, propaganda, messaging, yeah, that are also out there that create all this mental noise in us, yeah, or emotional and physical noise as well, as we have now experienced in the last year and a half, 2 years, yeah, namely through triggering our nervous system. Sorry, triggering our nervous system into fear. All right, and this is then when our lower self basically takes over. And it's very, very difficult to follow through with a higher intention, with a higher potential, when, yeah, our sort of the lower aspect, the lower expression of our humanness is triggered. And this is why, yeah, we have been, well, told, okay, why we have been getting this impulse to do something in these past decades, and that is to investigate, to explore the nature of our consciousness, and to systematically learn how to sense, how to feel, and how to think for ourselves on our own, yeah, to lead us into higher levels of independence, yeah, and ability to discern truth. And this is now coming to fruition, if you will, in December, because right here is where we need it. You have already been seeing this in the last year. Okay, how much? Well, actually, this has been going on for longer, so it was visible. But those of us who've had early training, okay, that where this is going to go, but you are now seeing, okay, that without this ability to discern truth, you become a victim of your mental noise, your emotional noise, and your physical, your nervous system, and all the anxiety and depression and fear, yeah, that comes with that. And obviously there's other expressions, but not to confuse you here, our emotions are also signals. So just because you're feeling angry, or you're feeling fearful, or you're feeling guilty, doesn't mean that you are a lower self or a lower being. It just means that you are under the influence of a lower vibrational field, and that you need to have, or that you need discipline, yeah, to withstand that, or to let go of that compulsion to follow it. Okay, so our lower self, our lower potential, is based on instincts and compulsions, and our higher potential is not defined nor restricted by what our potential could be, yeah, by, you know, how good we could be, or how ideal we could be, or how pretty we could be, or how rich we could be, yeah. So this is a bit against all the sociological theories here. From a spiritual point of view, the only restriction that we have is the choices that we make. And so it's a logical consequence to work on the quality of our choices if we want to access the power to manifest or to embody our higher potential. So guys, it's not about what happens to us, it's how we handle this. And in December, it's very important that you remember this, because we are basically steering into a massive shit show, into a massive showdown of, well, collapse of all these untruths, yeah, that we have been confronted with, that we had to deal with, that we had to wiggle ourselves through, with another level of scare, of fear, of doubling and tripling down into our own lower self. All right, so the energy alignment MP3 that will be available for all of you here as part of the subscription to my email list, and first available to all of you who are participating in the energetic tune-up, is called True Self-Intervention. Yeah, and it is the energy of reminding us that we are spiritual beings that are powerful. It is our true self reminding us that we are powerful spiritual beings. That said, let's work with these energies a little bit. Yeah, some of these interventions may sound like this in your own head. I trust in myself because I know who I am. I know who I am through knowing what I need. Yeah, knowing what makes me feel safe, knowing how I want things, how I want, yeah, my needs, and all these essentials, yeah, that I want in my life to be, and where I'm going with this, what the direction, what the purpose is. That is what allows me to trust in myself. I do not need to know how it's all going to unfold. I just need to know that I will be able to handle no matter what. It is this real-time navigation that we need to learn to trust in. And how does this trust develop in us? By following our inner guidance. And that is what those of you who have been working on this will actually feel very, very strongly in December. And there's a huge potential here for all of you who are willing to trust in your inner guidance, even though you don't know yet where this is going to lead. You just know that it's true, that it's right for you, and you act accordingly. Intervention number 2, I can trust in my vision even though I don't know yet how it's going to play out. So in December, it's very important that we connect with our future self, with our future vision. We need to go beyond this shit show, okay? You cannot get distracted by this, even if it's affecting you in ways. There's very, very direct impact, yeah, of this. In some of our countries more than in others, issues with energy supply, issues with general supply chains, issues with safety, okay, and obviously health issues, although those are more likely, blown out of proportion, triggering this collective trauma programming that we have. So we need to be able to look beyond that. We need to be able to see ourselves beyond, let's say, January, February, March. Okay, so March is kind of like the time where things are going to shift in regards to COVID, and May will bring the manifestation of it. So guys, this is a bit of a marathon here for all of us. But if you have been able to discern all this, then it hasn't really impacted you that much anyway, because this is in your conscious choice, right? So you need to see yourself beyond that, and that means that you have to really work with a strategy, with a plan for the future, especially in financial matters, yeah, because the energies that are coming in right now are very much related to value, to money, to the resources, and the getting and the heaviness of these things. And obviously that always relates to our needs. And there's a lot of sort of maybe having to cut down or reducing our needs, and there's movements already that you can see is that here in sort of the Wokian mainstream media, yeah, to not really needing that much anymore. All right, but in order to get to that place that you don't feel like you're missing out or that you don't need that much anymore, you need to have proper discernment, guys, and that is you need to know what you need to feel safe. All right, and this is what's being messed with. So your job here is really to see yourself through, no matter how bleak it's going to look like in a certain moment. Okay, so remember this. This is a quote from a movie that I just watched with my kids. Impossibilities are possibilities not understood yet. Whenever you are in a situation where you think this is impossible to resolve, think of these words. Impossibilities are possibilities not understood yet. It's very, very beautiful. If you're interested in the movie, it was the movie The Boy Called Christmas. Intervention number 3, that is the reminder to stay neutral, the reminder to let go of judgment, because judgment is what creates all this duality in us, yeah, this pro or con, or good or bad, or saint or sinner, or left or right. Okay, if we can let go of our judgment, we can let go of this separation, this duality between those seemingly binary worldviews. Okay, judgment keeps me imprisoned in fear. Yeah, so judgment is what feeds fear. There's other things that feed fear, but judgment for most of you guys, it's the main source of your fear. Yeah, and a specific form of judgment is particularly malignant for your true self, and that is self-judgment. Okay, so the intervention here is your true self reminding you to let go of your own judgment. And this can play out in beautiful ways, in ways where we suddenly recognize that we're all in this together. These last year and a half have also bonded us. They've also brought us more together. We're now seeing, especially now here in late November 2021, how this adversity, through all these government rules, lockdowns, mandates, and so forth, how that is uniting us, how that is bonding us. So letting go of judgment also helps us to embrace the we. Yeah. Helps us to embrace togetherness, helps us to embrace connection with others more. We just need to learn to discern more. All right, that's still our challenge here for December. And intervention number 4, and that seems like a recursive sentence. Because I trusted in my vision, I can trust in myself. Many of you feed yourself still with the doubt that you cannot trust in yourself, yeah, or that you cannot trust in you fulfilling your vision, okay, because you've betrayed yourself or didn't work out in the past, and that's what you use as an excuse or justification to not develop a vision. Or you develop a vision that is so high up there, yeah, that It is a completely unrealistic expectation, and one that has to do with perfectionism, one that has to do with performing, comparing, and competing. And that too needs to be let go of. So you need to come up with your own vision that is not in comparison or competition with somebody else, that comes out of you, just you. Yeah, out of your inner guidance, out of your true self informing you. What is true to you matters to you, and what you prefer. And out of that then develops vision, and out of vision develops purpose. And out of purpose develops trust. So you need to understand that if you don't stand for anything, you're going to get swept away by everything. Okay? Making a stance for yourself, for your vision, even if you don't know yet how it's going to work out. Yeah. But if it's true from within yourself, you need to follow it. And that act, that choice is what's going to help you to trust in yourself with every step. And it is a step-by-step journey. Yeah, learning how to trust in yourself. Every single time you trust in your true self-guidance, in your inner vision, you learn to trust more, and things become easier, and the vision becomes clearer, and purpose is revealed. Chakra wise, energetically here in December, guys, there's obviously a lot going on. There's a lot of different energetic aspects, but the most impactful collective energies we'll feel here in the spiritual, isn't this interesting, has to do with believing in ourselves, and also giving things value. Yeah, like, how do I see this? What is my value system here? Yes, that's also has to do with integrity and the physical. So this is very, very important that we anchor that into the physical, or else it's just some kind of ideal or a mental construct. It cannot just be a mental construct, guys. It has to be embodied. It has to be brought into the physical. It has to be translated. It's like a dream when you wake up from a dream. Yeah, and it's like a fleeting thing. If you don't write it down, or if you don't talk about it, it sort of poofs away. The moment you give it words, the moment you draw a picture, the moment you share your experience with somebody, it is anchored. And as it is anchored in that way, as it was translated, yeah, into the logos, it became real. Yeah, if you don't do that, you'll forget your dreams. How many times has that happened to you? You wake up in the morning and you have this really cool dream and this really cool vision, and then by the end of the day, it's gone. Yeah, that's because it wasn't translated, and it isn't about perfect. It isn't about being able to know exactly how to do this. It's about translating it. It's about keeping it in this alchemical transformation at all times. Yes, obviously I'm going to report about these collective energies as we go through the weeks. Yeah, so in those Friday energy updates and energy tips, I go more detailed into the weeks and days. On our Wednesday energy talk, I discuss these things with those of you who come to these live events. So there's a lot of opportunity to dive deeper into this. But overall here for the month of December, we are looking at some quite explosive events, guys, and that's right at the beginning of the month. Now, these explosive events, some of them are actually physical, so this could actually indicate, they also feel electrical, so it could be actual explosions, or it could be like a transformer blowing out, so it could have something to do with the power grids, but it could also have something to do with attacks, and it could be all three of them. Yeah, who knows? We'll see. This will play out rather early here. I'll give you the dates in a moment. Some of it is also in form of announcements, in form of declarations that are coming toward us. This isn't so unexpected now. Europe is heading into a lockdown, but we are already being primed here with this fear of Omicron, of the Omicron strain of the coronavirus. Yeah, that we now really have to be scared. Okay, and that triggers a lot of these lower expressions in us. Yeah, so obviously there's a lot of physical discipline needed, not only these self-healing techniques that we can apply, but also really just staying calm. Yeah. Remember, it's not about what happens, it's about how you handle what happens. So if you can focus on how you handle it, yeah, and train yourself to stay calm in all of that, it will be a lot easier for you to see through them. Okay. Unrest protests, yes, this is something we are starting to get used to. Interestingly, not quite fully reported in the news, but if you go to my forum, you can see this is going on worldwide. Yeah, and these protests, unfortunately, also being misused by certain political factions. So yes, they're going to turn into unrests, and yes, it's going to lead to, in some countries, to, well, almost like revolutionary war-like circumstances. Unfortunately, that's part of my prediction for December, that we're going to witness this in some of our countries here in December. All right. But at the same time, there will also be new possibilities that are opening up. They will sound or feel or look improbable at first, but if those of you who can see through that recognize the power of these new models that are coming in, these new paradigms, all right, then you will also be able to see the possibility in that not yet understood possibility. All right. Yes, lockdowns, dead ends. Lots of these things are changing our experience here of the holidays this year. So I'm not saying, get, your bags of rice and stuff like that, although you should always have what you need to feel safe, okay, in your pantry, if you will. All right, but this is coming to a closure, guys, and it's unfortunately coming through to a closure through these explosive events. So it's almost like, sort of this bigger intervention. Yeah, and this bigger intervention, interestingly, feels like a cosmic or universal intervention. All right, this would not surprise me if it had something to do with extraterrestrial or outer dimensional, I don't know, sightings or findings. Yeah, so this could be, this could come forward just through within ourselves as these two self-interventions, but it is actually quite possible that it also comes in physical form. Yeah, maybe evidence of new life or new life forms or something like that. Something big that changes our understanding, and especially our spiritual understanding of ourselves as humans. This could also be something very dark. All right, so yeah, I'm obviously trying to prepare you for, well, something that we cannot imagine yet. And I know the limitations of predictions is always that we cannot really know what it feels like, yeah, until we're in that situation. And so I'd rather encourage you to actually focus on your present moment awareness and your conscious choices, rather than trying to control these events, which will be hardly possible. There are some aspects of that we can do, and that is we can take measures for our financial safety. Yeah, because this re-evaluating of money, hyperinflation, the new, dollar value through. Yeah, by the way, we're most likely going to have more stimulus checks or wires or whatever those are called in your societies, in your countries here by the end of December, announced coming in January, okay, which will further drive this re-evaluation of money into the direction of inflation. So that machine, that boulder, yeah, is rolling, guys. It's rolling right at us. So there is obviously things you can do, namely translating, yeah, transforming your money into different kinds of alchemical versions, different kinds of values, yeah, intrinsic values, or wherever you have your money right now, yeah, to find a way to diversify, to find a way to hedge inflation, yeah. And we've talked about this for years and years. Obviously, intrinsic values are always the first choice, precious metals, and for some of you, cryptocurrencies, which I continue to recommend here. We are going through this correction phase that I have announced in September. This cycle will last until like the 21st of January. So yeah, don't shoot me. I'm just a messenger here, but this crypto development, this downward, this bearish development is going to continue till January, and then yeah, to the moon. All right. Yeah, so new paradigms, new mindsets are marching in, and in a way that we never thought it would be possible, guys. So this is literally a month, yeah, these next 4 to 6 weeks, a month of radical transformation. Okay. So by not quite yet when I do the forecast for January, but more so like by the mid of January, we're going to be talking about things that you would have not seen as possible, or you're not seeing possible right now. So this accelerated transformation is quite an interesting ride. Okay. Yes, the challenges here and the self-healing that is needed, things that I talk about in every podcast, in every live stream, in every workshop. Okay, mental emotional discipline is of utmost importance right now. Also, if you're not yet taking supplements, if you're not yet making sure that you have vitamin D levels right around 80 to 90 nanograms per milliliter, if you're not taking, things that can actually help you to detox from all this increased sort of toxicity. All right, if you're not really taking care of your nutrition, if you're not drinking enough water and exercising and sleeping enough, guys, this is your last call. Okay. Your nervous system needs these things to function properly so that you can operate there, so that you can make choices based on your higher expression. Otherwise, you're going to be permanently pulled into your lower expression just due to your body. Okay. So please remember that this requires systematic training. And here, before I forget this, I have 3 spots for the Heart Warrior program available. This is probably also the last call, guys. The Heart Warrior training is the most systematic training that we offer here at transCODES. There's many different courses, programs, online courses, and so forth that I offer, but the Heart Warrior program is probably the most effective one. I have 3 spots available here for December. You can start whenever you want to. It's a 3 months initial program, and then you can continue if you want. It's systematically training your physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, and etheric energetic energies. True self-connection obviously needs to be nurtured, okay, because it's really, really difficult to understand these interventions if you have no connection with your true self. Yeah. new connections, new support systems are going to form in that sense that we as communities find more together. We're organizing ourselves in new ways, yeah, new organizations, associations, projects, nonprofits, and new communities, self-healing communities are forming. We are constantly trying to increase our reach. We're going to be doing some changes here to our platform so that it is easier for other people to connect with this community, the sacred self-healing community. Financial planning, as I said, is of utmost important. You need to take care of this. And this is not just for December, guys. I mean, it's kind of natural to go into a little bit of an inventory mode toward the end of the year, but this is really for the next 3-4 years. Okay. As a matter of fact, the cycle that we are in right now, this shift that is happening here on the 1st of December is a cycle that lasts for another 20 years. Okay, so you're basically setting up, if you're my age, yeah, I'm basically setting up my retirement now. And if you are in your early 20s, you're setting up the prime of your life. And well, if you are 7 or 8, you're probably not listening to this, but depending on where you are at your life stage, okay, you are setting yourself up for the next stage. And the beautiful part about this, guys, is that there is a fate-like unraveling of all and everything that you have been going through. So December brings in this uncanny fate development for all of us, where these karmic propensities, these karmic attachments that we all have suddenly all make sense. And you have a choice there. Again, it's in your choosing, all right, to acknowledge it all, to accept it all, and to let it go all at once. It will almost feel like miraculous. Beautiful side of that is that this is also a time where these twin soul relationships, yeah, where these fated souls, okay, that find each other, these relationships that are beyond soulmate. This isn't about soulmate, guys, not how mainstream has transfigured it. This is about two people coming together with a very proper understanding of what unconditional love and lovingness means and what purpose means. Yeah, the purpose of their relationship transcends, yeah, seeking pleasure and avoiding pain. It's there to serve for a greater good, for that overall consciousness development, and that is basically possible in December, guys. All right, yeah. So whatever you think is impossible, it's just a possibility not understood yet. All right. Yes, and so understanding is a big deal here for December, as it forces us to understand life and love in a new way. And all that is indeed a higher potential. We're moving into a higher potential. Important dates here, and these are interventions this month, okay? Starts with the 1st of December. Big announcements, okay? I don't know yet what that's going to look like, but it sounds like obviously related to the whole COVID scare, okay, and lockdowns, flights, all right. Things are really going to escalate now. If you thought that it was bad before, it's ramping up, okay. This is literally steering from the 1st of December to the 31st of December. Yeah, so this is the entire month, all right, is one big escalation. Yeah, with these cosmic events, yeah, the new moon solar eclipse on the 4th, that brings in higher truth, that illuminates, yeah, the dark side of everything, yeah, the underworld, yeah, is fully illuminated, okay. The dark is out there in the open, guys. You can call it out. those true selves among you who already know the power of that, you guys are going to feel that prompting. Call out the bullshit, call out the dark. Okay, there is a lot of protection in that. New trust will come in here through that, not the calling out the dark, but through this higher truth that is coming in. All right, and unfortunately, this will not feel comfortable at first, because who do you know who likes you know, to look at truth, to be confronted with truth. We have become aware, or almost used to, being confronted with untruths now. There's a little bit of a desensitization. All right, this now needs to be grounded. Okay, so we need to confront things with truth now, and that is what is going to happen. This will escalate then over the course of a week or so to the 11th of December into government crises, like leaders losing it, like on camera. Okay, yeah, there is. I mean, I've wrote down totalitarianism here as a keyword. I don't know how else to describe it. Despotic, tyrannical stuff. All right, this has to do with the dark feeling so safe right now that it comes out. You see it with your open eyes now. Okay. It also have an effect on the financial markets, on the financial system. Okay, so probably banks gone bankrupt. Yeah, this domino that some of us have experienced before, 2008 and a little bit 2000. Yeah, but 2008 it happened, and we're going to see something similar. It's a little different this time. Yeah, probably triggered by the bond markets. Yeah, a domino that will be very visible for us here on the 15th, 16th of December. On the 19th, when we are heading into the winter solstice or summer solstice, if you are in the southern hemisphere, and we're looking at these amplified full moon energies, this is, well, I mean, it's steering into literally life-changing situations. So there is this staggered, okay, escalation here. 19th, highest level of tension. But tension, if you look at it from an energetic point of view, from a physical point of view, if you will, it's also the moment of highest potential. Yeah, just the strongest resistance between two poles. Okay, and this is the highest potential. So if you let them go, all right, there is this massive, explosive sort of new energy coming out. And yes, on the 20th, you know, that is, I don't know exactly how this is going to play out for each and every life here on this planet. Okay, again, this does not feel apocalyptic. It feels really extremely life-changing, pushing us forward. Yeah, like this nudge, all right, to go forward. Yeah, there's many historical events that have happened in that same way. Yeah, this one event, yeah, that then determined the next 20 years. Yeah, so here to the end of December, there is a cycle, okay, that is being started that is going to accompany us until 2040. And then even further here, as this showdown, yeah, comes in over Christmas, a new cycle, yeah, this explosive event, whatever that is, okay, that is going to affect our way of thinking for the next 40 years, guys. And it's all about value and truth, becoming independent as individuals, yeah, by seeing this collective individualism, yeah, turning into, yeah, this really seeing ourselves as together, as we, as us. So this can also be misused. And so in January, we're going to see a little bit of that misuse, the globalist movements and so forth. I don't want to talk about this right now, but I want you to know that there is a lot of potential, a lot of wonderful things here in this showdown, here for 2021. And those of you who are crypto fans, yeah, we are still in that consolidation as predicted. Yeah, the new cycle isn't starting until January, and you got to be careful now, because as sort of these big amounts of money moving into crypto and blockchain, you also are going to lose that sort of advantage of foresight. You will, though, if you did it right, definitely not lose out. You will have lots of gains, but you can no longer speculate. Okay, you're going to have to move on to the next future thing, and this is the part that I am looking forward to, because for me, you know, there's already sort of a new technology, and that technology has nothing to do with money. Yeah, that we are being pushed toward, yeah, that we are exploring now in these next decades. And yeah, so just understand that crypto is, you know, was a great way of making money and stabilizing your financial situation in the past 7 years, but you're now going to have to translate it somehow, invest it into intrinsic things, into real things. All right. Yes. So here, this is from the self-mastery workshop, overcoming fear. Obviously, something that has been accompanying us here for the last year and a half, 2 years. You know, how to get past it, and this is what we teach, obviously, in the Heart Warrior training and all other trainings, really, but in the Heart Warrior training is the most personal of those. Yeah, systematically developing the physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, etheric, and energetic discipline to, yeah, not only explore but also manifest your higher potential. Yeah, so the last antidote for 2021, yeah, is true self-intervention. Yeah, so all of this that we have been going through here in 21 is now coming to, well, a showdown. And showdown also means that you now have to apply all of that conscious choice, authenticity, internalization, yeah, but it feels like from within and not from the outside, yeah, not external. Embodiment, harmonizing, inner warmth, clarity, overcoming fear, knowing your purpose, have a good feeling for integrity, for your integrity, and learn through new perspectives. It's all coming together here in December now, yeah? And it will help you to develop a whole new level of self-worth and trust in yourself, and recognizing that you are exactly where you need to be, and that all these doubts that you had in the past, they all turned out just to be fear porn. All right? You followed your true self, and it's guided you here, and now you are standing at that moment of decision. So many of you need to overcome fear. Lots of that has to do with tapping into your masculine energies now, into your healthy masculine energies. Yeah. True self-mastery, that's for those of you who are serious about this, yeah, and representing true values, that is a more feminine energy, namely really knowing what matters, what needs to be nourished, what needs to be fed, and what is not worth it, what is not worth it. Yeah, so here then, this miracle of fateful transformation that can lead to beautiful new relationships in your life, new connections in your life. December is not the time for feeding the fakery, the phoniness, and social media look at meanness. Okay, all that authenticity will just lead to more confliction in you. This concludes the forecast for 21. Just real quick here for those of you who are not familiar with the programs, starting on the 6th of December, I'm doing something I've never done before that is helping those of you who need a daily energy boost. This is pure energy work for 14 days, yeah, to help you bust through, break through those things that you have already been feeling, okay, that now just need to be translated. Then right on Christmas, I am starting a new energy wellness online course for beginners. Yeah, it's very, very beautiful, small course. And a new centerpiece here of transCODES. So this is a fantastic course for couples and individuals who want to learn how to build relationships based on truth. And for some of us, it's also rebuilding, yeah, a new level of unconditionality in our relationship. So it's very recommendable for couples, yeah, but also for singles, yeah, how to handle these new type of relationships, yeah, with your energetic sensitivity, with your spirituality, with your empathy, all out in the open. And that starts January 19th. So this one is filling up quickly, guys. That would be something, maybe a great Christmas gift. Yeah, so this is it, guys. Thank you. Those of you here listening live, any questions, any comments that you would like to add to this? Anything that is on your heart here or on your mind? Okay, no, all right. Thank you for being such a loyal audience. Thank you for subscribing to my YouTube channel, to my email list, to pushing the like button, to leaving a comment, for asking questions, for buying me coffees. Yeah, thank you for enriching this community through your presence, your attention. Be assured that there is an impact here of all of that, of our discussions, of our live streams, of our daily sacred selves, our energy prayers, and all these things that we do every day, yeah, to be of service for others day. That impact is much, much bigger than you can see right now. So much bigger. Okay. I wish you a happy transformation. Okay. Just expect the impossible. Expect the improbable. Yeah, look forward to it. Be curious how it's all going to play out, and stay awake. No more autopilot, guys. You can't afford that. Right? Love you. See you very soon. Tomorrow, those of you who want to know what this journey brings for you, specifically a personal reading and clearing for December energies, the December tune-up tomorrow at 4 p.m. Not too late. I haven't sent out instructions yet. See you tomorrow.